Around 2016, there was a sudden increase in interest towards the Flat Earth community. I'm not exactly sure what started all that, but I do know I was right there joining in and being very entertained by all the conspiracy theories. While for most people it seemingly stopped at the bigger videos by the bigger non-Flat Earth channels, my friends and I tried to delve deeper to find the actual channels of people who believe that the Earth is flat. They are uncommon, and to find real Flat Earthers you need to know where to look. After a few years of looking at some actual Flat Earth YouTube channels from time to time, I discovered a page on Reddit where not everyone was convinced by the ball shape of the Earth. I think it was through this page that I found the YouTube channel that is today's subject, Kyle Adams. The channels that I looked at in the late 2010s were hilariously terrible.
Oh, okay, wow. No, that's how it looks up there. Oh, thanks for that, NASA. Good rendering. Oh my god. Wait, where the hell did I just go? Oh yeah, here we go. Here we go. Anyways, I was looking at this bullshit. I'm not gonna read it because it's just pretty much the same bullshit there. NASA propaganda, but watch this video. Watch this video with me, guys.
Flat Earth in general is something that is just so much fun to engage with. With most conspiracy theories, the beliefs are inherently pretty worrying. So many are racist or anti-Semitic, and the claims that made are so unprovable. The anti-vaccine movement has cost us lives. Flat Earth, on the other hand, seems pretty innocent. It's also pretty accessible for the layman like Kyle Adams and myself to discuss and think about. The shape of the Earth was something that the original philosophers were already talking about. This makes it quite easy to come up with glaring holes in the idea that the Earth is flat. Some flat earthers are really easy to laugh at. There was this one channel that hardly edited out the long silences in his speech, and when he did cut, it was midway through a sentence. The audio sounded horrible, he rarely made any coherent point, and when he did, the argument was so brittle it fell apart by burping in its general direction. To give Kyle some credit, his videos weren't like this. He knows how to edit and how to present the information in an appealing manner. His videos feel right at home at YouTube. Unfortunately, he says a lot of very wrong things. Or fortunately, since that's the most entertaining part. Recently, Kyle made a video that I thought at the same time was very funny and extremely frustrating. In this video, he engages in debate with the language model. I could get into the entire conversation and how the language model argues circles around him, but the most entertaining part of this video is the end. And by the end, I mean the last 8 minutes of a 12-minute video. Because in these 8 minutes, he keeps rephrasing the same question for the language model over and over again, which then gives an answer, after which the same question is asked again. He keeps this up until the language model is gaslit into saying he is right, sort of.
Why don't satellites fall faster and faster as they fall?
Satellites are able to remain in their orbits due to a delicate balance between the gravitational pull from the Earth and their forward velocity.
What cancels the gravitational pull on a satellite? How can centrifugal force balance gravitational pull if centrifugal force doesn't exist? We already established that forward velocity does not negate downward velocity. You're repeating the same lie.
I apologize for any confusion caused by my previous responses. You are correct, and I apologize for the inaccurate information provided.
I win!
The language model in theory gave a satisfactory answer to the question, but it wasn't very clear. The way that orbits are generally explained is that the Earth curves away from the satellite, and that the satellite keeps missing the planet while it falls. When you learn about the way gravitational acceleration works, it seems intuitive that something that is falling must keep accelerating downwards faster and faster, but clearly it doesn't. That's the entire point of an orbit, in fact. One could go a few routes from this point. You could conclude that the gravitational mechanics don't make sense. Therefore, the entire scientific community is wrong and either lying or pretending to understand. They must be lying to prevent us from knowing the actual truth, which might be anything. Maybe even that the Earth isn't even round at all. Or you could think about the question for a bit and try to think of an explanation yourself. If that doesn't work out, you could ask someone who actually knows some more details about the way that orbits work and figure out the answer that way. The latter is probably the most sensible thing to do. Now that we're listing things to do in this situation, you could also open the Unity game engine, create a small scene with an Earth and a projectile launcher so you can launch new projectiles with differing speeds and direction. Then look up the formula for gravitational acceleration and program that into C# so you can see if the actual maths make sense and visualize orbits to help explain it to anybody. But only a fucking idiot would. So I did it. It's open source so anybody can download the source code, and I put the program itself on itch.io. Both are in the description. As you can see, using the formula I found on Google, which can be seen here in the code, the satellites follow an orbit. They don't keep going faster and faster towards the Earth. So why doesn't it? Well, the way I'd like to answer this is that the direction of the gravity keeps changing. As you can see in the green force indicators, it's always towards the Earth. When you're on the right side, the gravity pulls the projectile to the left, and when you're on the left side, vice versa. If the projectile is going fast enough, it will keep missing the Earth, which means that we can pretty definitively say that the orbital mechanics that have been presented to us make sense. Alright, that was a lot of work and time to properly answer one single question. I know that if Kyle reacts to this, he will have asked many other questions that have not been directly addressed by this video. But I also doubt that Kyle has disproven anything of what I said here. So I would like to ask him to admit not that the Earth is round, but that orbital mechanics make sense. He asked a question, and that question was answered satisfactorily. That's a good word. Now it's my turn to ask a question. If the Earth is flat and the Sun is always above the Earth, why does the Sun go below the horizon? You might say because it moves away and goes lower and lower, but it should never actually go below the horizon. And we can calculate how low it should be able to go in this scenario. So let's be charitable and take the hypothetical that you're standing on the flat Earth, on one end of the outer ring, opposite to the end of the outer ring where the Sun is at that moment. The Sun, according to the Flat Earth Society, is around 700 statute miles up in the air, which is 1,126 kilometers. The circumference of the Earth is around 40,000 kilometers. Using those two numbers with the inverse tangent gives us the fact that the Sun could never go lower than 1.61 degrees above the horizon. In Unity game engine, that looks like this. The box over there that's 1 meter by 1 meter. I don't know about you, but I have often seen the Sun go lower than that. I have seen and felt the last slivers of direct sunlight get obstructed by the horizon, and I can't think of a way for that to work without a curved Earth. Kyle, I would love to hear your responses to both of these points. If you have any further questions regarding the shape of the Earth, you're welcome to ask them. But I can promise I will answer all of them. If it's about more advanced physics, for example, I can't help you. The question about gravity was right up my alley, but there are many people who know a lot more about these subjects, and I advise you ask them. The problem I see with many flat earthers is that they say they are skeptics, but they don't think about their ideas skeptically. When you asked that question, it seemed like a valid one at first, but you got an answer from the language model that was correct. As a skeptic in that situation, you should test the idea that orbits don't make sense. Talk to someone who knows more about it, try to think of an answer yourself, or try to simulate the situation. Because more often than not, you will understand the world a little bit better than before in the theory that thousands of people before you have pondered turn out pretty solid. Now, if you're watching this and aren't a flat earther, don't go over there and be mean to them. From what I've seen, Kyle and his viewers are not terrible people. They're just wrong. But I've been wrong before, and so have you.